Honorable ministers, distinguished speakers, and ladies and gentlemen, thank you for inviting me to the Global Clean Energy Summit 2024. I am Nobuo TANAKA, Executive Director Emeritus of the International Energy Agency IEA, and Chairman of the Steering Committee of the Innovation for Cool Earth Forum, ICEF. Let me share the slide now. This is the 50th anniversary of the IEA. Dr. Fatih Birol, the current IEA Executive Director, said, "We are in the middle of the first global energy crisis." In the 70s, it was the oil crisis, which created the IEA. And now we have an oil crisis, natural gas crisis, and coal crisis, as well as electricity crisis in a very complicated manner. All prices are skyrocketing, and energy security is a priority for many governments, if not all. But IEA surprised all of us 3 years ago by triggering the first IEA shock to the oil and gas producers, saying that all the oil and gas groups must stop new exploration projects if net zero by 2050 should happen. Net zero by 2050 tells us if the world should achieve carbon neutral by 2050, the peak demand of oil could have happened already in 2019, and for natural gas, it would happen by the middle of 2020s. I suspect that President Putin of Russia may have decided to invade Ukraine before the peak demand of oil and gas would happen, resulting energy war between Russia and Europe pushes many European nations away from Russian gas to more liquefied natural gas, renewables, and nuclear power. A coming climate shock would be much more profound, complicated, and disastrous than the global energy shock if we aren't well prepared. Nobody can stop this happening. There will be winners and losers. Russia seems to me least prepared for this climate shock. Russia lost a status of energy superpower and faces Western sanctions on technology, self-withdrawal of investment, expanding military expenditures, and increasing brain drain. That they may hurt its ability to adapt. Europe may well be a winner by accelerating the decarbonization for energy security. Hydrogen is a key tool together with renewable energy. Carbon border adjustment measures would force other non-European countries to share the burden of transformation. Dr. Fatih Birol said that United States Inflation Reduction Act is the single most important energy and climate action by any country since the Paris Accord in 2015. Supports for EVs, hydrogen infrastructure, and carbon capture and storage are enormous. The US will definitely be a winner. Another major oil producers, Saudi Arabia, for example, plans to generate green and blue hydrogen to avoid stranded acetization of its oil and natural gas. China and India will aim at renewable superpower. Another winner is a company like Apple, who plans to decarbonize its whole supply chain by 2030. More than 200 suppliers of Apple, including Sony, agree to become renewable energy 100 by 2030 to continue to stay in the supply chain. Their target year is much earlier than governments. The current green transformation is driven by the demand side, such as megatech firms, as well as automobile companies. This chart shows import dependency of oil and gas for countries. Even with decarbonization trend, the world needs fossil fuels in foreseeable future. Blue segment means importer of both oil and gas. Japan and Korea are very vulnerable because of importing 100% of oil and gas now and the future. How can Japan and Korea become winner? Hydrogen and advanced nuclear are the key. How about India? India's energy security gets more vulnerable in the future. Henry Kissinger, who is the founding father of the IEA, told me when I was elected as executive director that my mission as a new executive director is to get China and India into the IEA. He said IEA needs two countries to keep itself being a relevant organization for energy security and sustainability. At the same time, India needs IEA. I most welcome that IEA start official process for India's full membership just last month. Innovation for Coolers Forum ICEF says that what will make a difference in the multiple crises is the capacity to innovate. Japan has been promoting hydrogen economy since 2014 with hydrogen fuel cell vehicle Toyota Mirai. But it was not so successful because the focus is limited only to transportation sector. We need green transformation in all industrial sectors. Japan established Green Innovation Fund of 2 trillion yen in 2020 to support research and development aiming at the carbon neutral by 2050. Hydrogen-related projects are a major part of it. Many projects concerning the clean hydrogen supply chain are chosen. For example, clean ammonia supply chain, advanced electrolysis technologies, liquid hydrogen transportation, direct reduction ion making, and so on. Without scaling up production, lower prices may not happen. For that purpose, government should introduce measures for deployment. In fact, Japan will introduce carbon pricing by the hybrid of emission trading and carbon surcharge to utilities and importers under the green transformation strategy. When I was executive director of the IEA, I announced that a golden age of natural gas is coming. Among fossil fuels, natural gas is a winner because it is cleaner and abundant. And yet, IEA said that all of the fossil fuels demand will peak before 2030. A golden age of natural gas is closing. We now observe the boost of hydrogen project after Russian invasion of Ukraine. The Inflation Reduction Act and rich tax credit for CCS is creating a blue hydrogen boom in the United States. Japan introduced liquefied natural gas supply chain 50 years ago. Now Japan tries to lead establishing supply chain for clean hydrogen by 3 technologies of transportation and storage, namely liquefied hydrogen, MCH, and ammonia. A golden age of hydrogen is around the corner. Energy security paradigm will be very different in 2050. IEA's net zero scenario shows that 47% of the energy trade will be critical minerals and 35% hydrogen in 2050. How to secure the supply of lithium, cobalt, or copper is already a major concern of G7. MCH may replace the strategic stockpile of petroleum as hydrogen strategic stocks. Green competitiveness is a key consideration for industrial strategies for many governments. The IEA's analysis tells us that climate goals and innovation policies are driving new project announcements for energy-intensive commodities. But persistent cost competitiveness gaps indicate the need for strategic partnership and international collaboration. India may play a significant role with clean and cheap renewables. The IEA also indicates that future investment in energy-intensive industry is likely to favor regions with outstanding clean electricity and CCS potential in particular. in the Japanese semiconductor companies, as well as data centers, seek to build their new plants in Kyushu, where solar is abundant, and in Hokkaido, where wind is abundant. Japan's steel industries may be forced to seek their future production site out of Japan. Nippon Steel invests in India. Hydrogen can be transported most efficiently by pipeline if it is available. Europe is planning European hydrogen backbone. Europe is enhancing security and sustainability by double network of power grid lines and hydrogen pipelines. The United States and India will follow with rich resources, renewable resources in their region. Renewable electricity is growing at the fastest rate in India than any other major economy. But in a pathway to net zero emissions by 2070, the IEA estimate that most of the growth in energy demand this decade would already have to be met with low carbon energy resources. India has a huge potential of green hydrogen generated by cheap solar power and distributed through pipeline. Government policies should aim at building supply chain of hydrogen and making India a hub of green hydrogen in the region. But we cannot be complacent. IEA's World Energy Outlook 2023 said that to achieve net zero by 2050, renewable energy should be tripled by 2030, energy efficiency must be doubled, and methane emission be reduced by 75% by 2030. This challenge is enormous. COP28 accepted many of these IEA recommendations. It accepted that the world must transition away from fossil fuel in the energy system. But pledges of countries at COP28 only achieves 25% of the necessary trajectory for net zero by 2050. Yuval Noah Harari, author of *Sapiens*, calls for politicians with global identity to face the three challenges to humans in 21st century, namely nuclear war, ecological challenges, and technical destruction by algorithm. Innovation for Cool Earth Forum celebrated its 10th anniversary last year. We miss late Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, who is the founding father of the ICEF. We all know he is the man who started the concept of free and open Indo-Pacific in 2016. He is the unique Japanese politician with global identity. Thank you very much for your attention, and I wish you a great success. Good luck for all of you. Thank you very much.